Hey everybody, I just wanted to give you a little tidbit. I forgot to mention that this actually does do millivolts and that you don't necessarily have to have the ORP probe that they keep marketing. I don't know how much it costs. It's probably 75, 80 bucks just for that type of tip or something. I could be way off on that price, but not everybody is concerned about ORP like we are in terms of health, but I wanted you guys to see what this does. So when you press the power on, it gives the reading and then the normal readings for pH and for temperature. But when you press the mode button one time, all of a sudden you get an instant read. I shouldn't say instant, but it converts the oxygen reduction potential, or ORP, of the water. And right now it's showing that the water temperature is, for my reverse osmosis water, is 75.9 degrees. So it's almost 76 degrees. And it's got a negative ORP of 147 millivolts. That is awesome. Okay. So let me give you an example of what it was a year ago, and I can actually see the life cycle of my sixth stage of the water reverse osmosis filtration and treatment system. So I use a brand that sounds similar to Apera, except it's got a T in it. It's like Aptera. And they actually have something like 10 different minerals in a bed, one layer at a time. And some of them are more magnetic than others. And it's all of the stuff that gets pulled out of the really good mountain water that would have been good 100 years ago before they got tainted with acid rains and any other kind of pollution that eventually falls out and affects the ground. Like we said, if you have wildfires and there's toxins floating in the air and eventually it rains, it precipitates, falls down on the mountainside. Eventually that gets into the topsoil and finds its way into the water sources that many of us have on the above ground side. So back in the day when water was really pure and you didn't have to worry about things like the forever chemical being involved in it, thanks Teflon and 3M. But that's, man-made stuff that can taint the water. But imagine water that is like pure as the driven snow, just virgin, nothing touched it, no animals, no humans, anything. And so right now it's even saying I'm at 100, and I don't know if you can see that, so I'm just going to try to focus that for you. All right. And so 145 it's looking like. It did say 147, but I had to tilt it for the screen, and it's 75.6. So if we round up, that's almost 76 degrees. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and turn that. Oh, and we can backlight it for you there so you can see it a little easier. Okay, so you can see 145 and 75.6, but it's a negative 145. Okay, so let me show you what I wrote in my book about this. So I had measured my millivolt readings, which is MV, and I did the water sample over a year ago, and I was at 155. So in a year's time, it has dropped negative 10 millivolts. And the closer that gets to zero and then starts to have a plus, right? That's when you start getting into water that's more equivalent to like carbonated water and soft drink beverages and fizzy water, and it's more acidic and more corrosive, and it just kind of works against everything that we're trying to do to have a better life with better quality ingredients, this being 2/3 of your body is water, and all it takes is 3 days without water, and it's a fatal situation. So you might get some water in some of those energy drinks, but the sooner you get off of that stuff and get into better water, you're not going to be spending $4 every time to try to wake up and get, amped up for the day. You can have full mental clarity, and you don't have to run for the bathroom in 90 minutes or less either. So when you start drinking quality water and you're properly hydrated, you should be able to go, 2 to 3 hours a stretch before you go, I think I probably need to go make water in the bathroom. So think about those things. I mean, your body's talking to you. So this is that quick turnaround. And this is what I wanted to bring out to you, that there's an interesting fact, and I want to make sure that you can actually see this. And it says, interesting fact, did you know that the pH of 7.0 is considered neutral at 77 degrees Fahrenheit because the millivolt is not either positive or negative millivolts? So we're almost at 76. We're actually about 1.5 degrees south of a 77 degree temperature. So I could have used my regular RO water that's around 85 and let it cool down to 77 and then do the test for 77 degrees Fahrenheit and come up with the real accuracy. Okay, so here's what you need to know about this interesting fact. Anything higher pH than 7.0 will be considered basic or alkaline and will be measured in negative millivolts. This means that the total dissolved solids, or TDS, which is another test I'm going to show you in another video, will indicate that there are more salts present in the water. That's not necessarily salty water. It's not going to be like saline or drinking the Pacific or the Atlantic, or even close to being brackish. It just means that there are salts. All right, so the bottom line is we have now done 3 tests so far. We have the pH, we have the temperature, and we have the millivolts. So coming up is going to be our total dissolved solids, or TDS, and that one is going to be super easy. This was easy to begin with. It just had 3 different things all in one instrument. And I'm just going to rinse this out with the distilled water. And I'm not going to put it back to store with distilled water residue. I'm going to go ahead and just run my reverse RO water on it because it's a more pure water and it doesn't have the presence of salts. Then I put the cap back on it. You'll see some droplets in here. And if you break this out within a month, not suggesting that you have to, but if you do, you shouldn't have to dry out the bulb. You shouldn't have to soak it overnight in the special solution to bring it back to life. This is Mike again. I'll see you in the next video where we cover TDS.